next hour. For anyone who is new here, we'll do a very quick overview of what the Maryland Clean Buildings Hub is. That's an initiative I run out of the Maryland Energy Administration. Then we'll tick through some relevant announcements. Dare I say we've got a few really juicy ones today that I'm super excited to talk about. Then we'll get into the reason why we're all here today, which is to hear about how Wisp, which is Maryland's only 4-season ski, golf, I guess snowboard, and outdoor recreational resort, is chipping away at building decarbonization on their campus. I was super thrilled to find a first mover volunteer in a very seasonally appropriate building type. So excited for that. And then we'll open it up to audience questions. You've got a building decarb practitioner here on the line who wants to talk through his process, his struggles, etc. So use him. He wants to hear from you. So you can drop those questions throughout the presentation in the Q&A box. You can find that. If you go to the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, you'll see 9 dots. If you click that, you'll see a Q&A option. So throw those in there. I'll take questions at the end. And just a few logistics and housekeeping items. Yes, this webinar will be recorded thanks to my colleague Megan, who I think just turned that on. We'll be posting this onto the Hub's YouTube channel within the next day or two. And then I'll be referencing a few resources when I'm speaking, and I will be sure to drop those links to those resources in the chat after I'm done speaking. Next slide. Awesome, thanks. So Maryland Clean Buildings Hub, this is, I'd say probably 90% of you know what this is and have heard me speak many times, but for anyone who's new here, welcome. I'm an employee of the Maryland Energy Administration, which is what I like to say is Maryland's friendly state energy office. And I run an initiative out of the agency called the Maryland Clean Buildings Hub. Some history: the hub was statutorily mandated by our state legislator to serve as a resource hub for building owners and managers who want to make building decarbonization investments. So that kind of history informs our mission statement, which is to empower Maryland building owners to make well-informed energy investments in their properties by connecting them to financial, educational, and technical assistance. Next slide. So this slide kind of explains how we chip away at that mission and outlines what I kind of call our guiding principles. So I think first and foremost, wherever possible, we want to help facilitate opportunities for building owners, managers, anyone really working in the building space to learn from each other. And I think this webinar series is sort of the embodiment of this. Building decarbonization is a process. We're all learning. Someone may have not solved the entire puzzle, but maybe they've got a corner of the puzzle finished. And there's an immense value in sharing those stories. The Hub wants to help folks to do that through events like this. Second, we're here to help. This initiative exists to help kind of cut through the noise and get you the information you need to take action. As I often say, we do a bit of research at the Hub so that you don't have to do as much. So kind of how we do that, we compile resources in a monthly newsletter. We have organized resources on our section or corner of MEA's website. Highly recommend checking those out. And you can reach us directly via email with any question you have. Everything is fair game. I also like to say there's no wrong door when it comes to pursuing building decarbonization. All the state agencies who work on this issue coordinate regularly. And if you come to any of us, we will get you to the place you need to go. So I like to kind of encourage folks to think of the Hub as being the center of that. If you've got a question on low interest financing, for example, come to us and we'll probably pass you off to the Green Bank as just kind of an example of how that works. So we will get you to the right place. And then finally, we champion a deep spirit of collaboration. And I just want us to remember that through collaboration, we can do hard things. Okay, next slide. Just some relevant announcements while I've got a captive audience. First, just a deadline reminder, Maryland Energy Administration's Commercial and Industrial Grant Program, which funds primarily energy efficiency projects, is accepting applications until January 31st. So that's just over 2 weeks away. We did a program kickoff webinar, 2 months ago now, where our program manager walked through the application requirements, answered frequently asked questions, etc. So I encourage you to watch the recording of that, which is on our Hub YouTube channel, if you're interested in learning more about that program. It's one of the last programs at MEA that's open for the fiscal year 26 cycle. Then we'll sort of go dormant for a bit and start working on our fiscal year 27 offerings, which should start cropping up in the summer. Second, super excited for this announcement. The Hub will be launching a technical assistance program for building owners and managers with properties covered by the state BEPS, Building Energy Performance Standards. But before we do that, we need to select a qualified vendor who's going to work with us to shape and implement this program. So we've published a request for proposals, which is going to be open until February 20th. I'm going to repeat that again, February 20th. So a little over a month. We really want to get moving on this program, so we opted to have kind of a shorter window for vendors to apply. The RFP is actually being managed by the Maryland Environmental Service, not MEA. We use them for a lot of our procurements. So any questions about it should be directed to MES rather than me or any of the other Hub staff. They are actually hosting what they call a pre-bid meeting on Thursday, January 29. That's bright and early at 9 a.m. And that's a place where you can go to get any clarifying questions asked about the RFP. The link for that meeting is found on the RFP, which again, I will put in the chat when I'm done speaking. And then finally, I guess this is tied for being super excited. The Hub has published a new resource. It's a giant spreadsheet of what we think are every single building decarbonization incentive in Maryland that at least we are aware of. So you can download the spreadsheet off of the Hub's homepage. I'll throw the link in the chat after I'm done speaking. And we're asking for some feedback. I'm sort of calling this the beta version. There are many different ways of organizing incentives, and we've done it one way, and we want to get feedback on what would be the most helpful. So embedded in the Excel spreadsheet is a link to a survey where we ask like 3 questions, just asking for feedback on should we design this a different way, etc. So really hope to hear from you. You're also, of course, welcome to email us directly in view of that. Yep, next slide. Yep, rounding it out on my portion. Again, I imagine 90% of you know how to connect with us, but as a reminder, you can email us directly with your questions at building.decarbonization@maryland.gov. Sign up for our monthly newsletter, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and check out our refurbished web pages, which live on a corner of the MEA website. So that's it for me. And now I'm going to open up the proverbial floor to Tommy Royther. I hope I pronounced your last name right, who is Wisp's Sustainability Coordinator.
Yeah, thank you. Are y'all able to see my screen here?
Yes.
Good to go. Awesome. Yes, my name is Tommy Royther. I'm Sustainability Coordinator here at Wisp Resort in McHenry, Maryland. So we are Maryland's only ski area and 4-season recreation destination. We have 2 golf courses, a man-made whitewater course, countless other activities between zip lines, adventure parks, escape rooms, and we do it all 4 seasons. We have a few main buildings that fall under the BEPS mandates, and all of them are connected. We have a 70-year-old resort. We just turned 70 this year, so that makes a lot of finding information about blueprints and everything a bit difficult, but I'll go into that a little bit later. So this is kind of how we're reacting to the BEPS mandate. This is a little bit about my background. I'm not going to go into it too much, but I've got a master's in sustainable tourism from Arizona State University. I've been in my current role as sustainability coordinator in a hybrid role since 2022, and full-time position started in 2023. Some of my certifications, and I'm working on becoming a certified energy manager as well. Wisp Resort has our mission statement for sustainability called Eco Values. Eco Values is how we present our sustainability initiatives on property here to our guests and how we communicate what we're doing. I operate in the middle of that Venn diagram between environmental, social, and economic considerations. So whenever I'm proposing a project or moving things along, we typically try to stay in the center of that, benefiting each pillar of sustainability equally. So while Eco Values is our call to action, our mission is definitely to remain in sustainability. The company Wisp Resort is owned by Pacific Group Resorts. They are out of Park City, Utah, and they own 6 resorts between the US and Canada. So we're a smaller conglomerate company, but very much treated as an individual resort. So it's nice for us to remain dynamic and not get too bogged down in corporate influence, but also have that support as well. This is our third-party emissions report. We report annually through the National Ski Area Association since my first year here on property. As you can see, we've had consistent emissions reductions since joining the Climate Challenge, and I'll get into a little bit more of those programs. The blue bar up there will be our Scope 1 and Scope 2 electricity being our largest consumption here on property. A lot of that has to do with snowmaking, but definitely a lot of building energy usage as well. So you can check that out anytime you want through the National Ski Area Association. It's published each year on their website, so feel free to take a look and let me know what y'all think. We've had a lot of investments into building specific energy using equipment. The largest one of those we have done with our partners who are part of the rebate program here in Maryland, through their name is Synergetics, through our LED lighting replacements. We're replacing every single light on property. It's a huge undertaking here for a 70-year-old resort that's had multiple owners over its history, multiple electricians, and nobody from the original crew is still here. So having really expert partners to be around us and to help us has really been a blessing to shuttle us into this electrification future here in Maryland. So you can see the estimated kilowatt hour savings from our project that will be completed. The buildings are completed to this point, and we're looking to complete all of our slope lighting this spring before the rebates deadline there. We've also participated in some recent programs with our walk-in freezer and refrigerator engine motors being replaced. We put in a automated efficiency software through our partners NRM, and they are basically that program. Instead of our fan motors running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, they are smart and they will turn off and save us energy in the case of, it's 3 a.m. on a Tuesday. There's no need for the engine to be running full bore. at all times. So we're definitely getting a lot of good energy savings from those projects. Some of our future things that we're looking at are HVAC upgrades using the utility program specifically for our hotels in the individual rooms there. So we're waiting on some proposals to come back, and hopefully in the next year or so, we can start working on HVAC upgrades to keep bringing that electricity usage into a more manageable situation. We utilize rebate programs for most of our new infrastructure projects. The rebate programs here in Maryland are amazing, and our sister resorts in other states are extremely jealous of what we have here in Maryland and how we're able to justify energy projects much easier, with much faster ROIs on those savings. Some other sustainability programs that we have going, we recently received and implemented a $6,500 grant from the National Ski Areas Association. This is for recycling infrastructure and education at Wisp Resort. So I was able to refurbish some old recycling bins as well as purchase some brand new ones to make sorting a lot easier. Here in Western Maryland, we have to separate our aluminums and plastics in order to be recycled. So we're trying to get our guests to participate in that for the greater good. We've had snowmaking projects estimated at 500,000 kilowatt hours per year in savings. Not building specific, but they are a massive portion of our energy usage here on property. Some kind of ancillary programs, water bottle refill stations, using water more efficiently, as well as encouraging reusable bottles. And that's been a successful program for us. We are composting through a local composter partner that has come in recently. We did a trial to start and are now composting year round. We are recycling all across property at this point, but we tried recycling more efficiently through removing our golf course trash cans. This protects animals from getting in them, as well as it protects our natural environment here at Wisp. So some of those are indoor-outdoor programs, but we are definitely focused on building decarbonization as well and electrification. Some more sustainability programs that we go through, a lot of advocacy and education with our guests, local officials and delegates in our area, as well as other businesses around. We have consistent communication with our our waste haulers, our utilities, in order to find the most efficient systems that we can upgrade to at Wisp Resort. We've got internal policies and procedures that have been developed to support those new programs, new recycling programs, new infrastructure developments, and training in those sections. We have a paper reduction committee that's gotten us to be almost paperless with our internal and external communications. So things like systems in the finance department, sales department that reduce our paper use. Plant-based ski wax. All of our water off the slopes runs back into Deep Creek Lake or surrounding watersheds. So having a natural ski wax without PFAS in it is really important to protect those watersheds. Reusable cinch bags in retail instead of plastic bags. Third-party reporting and certifications are extremely important to us, and we do that through the National Ski Areas Association and BEPS. So that's been really important to kind of drive progress to meet Maryland's state goals that are very ambitious and that we appreciate as far as their, after effects and how they will help our state become more efficient. We've got many other ancillary and behind the scenes efforts if y'all would like to talk individually. Benefits of sustainability in my position here at Wisp Resort. It did not exist before I came here. I started here as a snowmaker, and I pitched my capstone project to the resort and the parent company in order to get this position. We have a really great ROI on infrastructure investments and goals surrounding that. Through the sustainability and through these rebate and incentive programs here in Maryland. We in turn receive more guest confidence that Wisp is here to stay. We're here for another 70, 100 years if we can with the climate. So it's really important to us to have guest confidence that the infrastructure we're putting in is not only beneficial to our operation, but to our environment and community. These investments, and it really ends up paying for myself by the end of the fiscal year. All of our incentives kind of justify my salary here at Wisp and allow us to reinvest those savings into more energy efficient projects. We have infrastructure that operates more efficiently, uses less power, and has less emissions. That's really the goal of this. And it gives us more operational certainty through unpredictable weather. If y'all have ever visited Deep Creek Lake, the other day, I can give you an example. We went from around 45, 50 degrees all the way down to 22 degrees in less than 12 hours. So the swings are immense, and we've got to be very agile to take advantage of that unpredictable weather and react to it. We go for certifications and recognition through the state and third-party programs that help validate our investments into sustainability. And it all comes down to reduced utility bills. We're using less energy, so we're saving more money, right? We do have a lot of challenges with the Building Energy Performance Standards program. Like I said, we are a 70-year-old building property. So things have been pieced together through the years, through multiple owners and management systems. So trying to find things like blueprints can be difficult. So we have to get folks in here to help us audit our buildings and really nail down where those future efficiency projects lie. I've only been here for around 5 years. So getting to know a property deeply like that is extremely difficult, especially when we've got new management or anything like that. So finding trusted partners who can come in and help us determine those future needs and opportunities is really important. It creates some pressure on us to invest significant amounts of capital in electrification and decarbonization projects. That is relieved through a lot of our rebate and incentive programs that we participate in. It's really freed up, me being in my position has freed up our facilities and operations folks, so they can rely on me to circle the wagons with these state programs and try to find us money. So that's been a really successful program for us. It does put exceptional amounts of expenses on businesses, but like I said, my position really pays for itself with savings in the end. Training employees in a seasonal environment is always difficult. We've got to remain consistent on, if we have seasonal employees who are only here for upwards of 5 or 6 months at a time before going to their other seasonal positions, we have to stay on top of them with training. So constantly, monitoring those training programs, building new standard operating procedures. So when we get these new groups of seasonal workers in, that we have updated material for them to learn from and to activate here on property, is a challenge for us as well. It's especially when you're putting in new infrastructure that changes the way that the frontline workers operate. How we're addressing these challenges is taking advantage of rebate and grant programs for energy saving infrastructure. We're trying to be on the cutting edge of technology as it comes out in order to reach Maryland's goals. We think it's very important, and that's a big goal for us. We're investing in sustainability education, a whole department, and planning through the sustainability department. I've been able to, like I said, justify my position with savings. So that's been a very important component of what's driving us into this electrification future. Like I said, we do consistent training, and we bring in third-party auditors to evaluate buildings here at Wisp Resort. What's in the future for buildings at Wisp? We hope to upgrade our HVAC, finish our lighting projects, increase the R value of our building envelope through our windows, walls, doors, all of those components being sealed better. And a 70-year-old resort, we've got some old buildings that we're working with. So it's difficult to fully electrify those old buildings when the R value is letting a lot of that energy escape. So that's been a focus for us in the future in planning considerations. We are looking at increased controls capabilities wherever we can automate systems in heating and cooling, lighting sensors, whether it's photocell or timers, and just ways to make it easy for our guests and our employees to monitor and track that equipment as it's being used, and make sure it's being used in an efficient way. So something like that in HVAC could be when the guest checks out, that system would automatically, go back to its standard temperature. So the guest comes in, they make it comfortable for themselves, and they enjoy their stay. And on their exit, it goes back to that baseline temperature there. So that's one of our goals in the future through control capabilities. We're also looking at potential battery storage and renewables as they become more affordable and easier to access. So we're constantly applying to grants and rebates for things of that nature. We're looking at EV chargers. It's been a slow process there. However, we are very committed to having that for our guests. About 80% of our guests come from the DMV area, 20% from Pittsburgh, and a smattering of locals from surrounding areas here around McHenry. So a lot of our clients who come and visit us and our guests who come and visit us are bringing their EV vehicles, and we want to be able to give them that opportunity to charge while they're out on the slopes, or while they're grabbing dinner with us, or while they're out golfing. So that's a very big focus for us as we move into the future. We are looking to continue increasing recycling and compost diversion. Here, it is difficult when we have to separate everything. However, we're constantly revising our systems and our standard operating procedures, as well as our training, in order to increase that diversion rate there. We're always auditing. I've done 2 audits already this year, and it's only the second week. So we are constantly auditing our property and our buildings in order to learn more and gain more data that can help us plan more efficiently for future upgrades. And many of these partners are willing to come in and audit with us and provide us these proposals that we very heavily consider. So that's been a great route for us. Typically, in order to find those, we go through the rebates program to find those trusted partners who already work with our utilities. So folks like NRM, Synergetics have been really important to us through that rebate program in order to get infrastructure at an affordable rate with a great ROI on it in order to justify them. We are also exploring combined heating and power systems. We've got a lot of trees that we consistently need to clear off of lift lines in order to remain safe and compliant with a lot of laws. So can we take those trees and use them to heat our building, or those branches and use them to heat our buildings? So we are, as we develop plans for new and current buildings, that's definitely something that we consider in order to heat those buildings in the winter. So that's going to be a really important consideration for us in the future. Overall, we definitely, as an older property, struggle with complying with BEPS, but our plan for the future is to utilize all the resources through MEA in order to make the most informed decisions, have to use the least amount of capital that we can in order to reach those goals, so we can reinvest in operational efficiencies that help us run well into the future for 70 plus more years here at Wisp Resort. So thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. I'll be available for questions, and here is my contact information if you would like to get in touch with me after this. So thank you all for your time, and I'll stop sharing.
Oh my gosh, that was amazing. Thank you so much. Reminder, folks, you can throw your questions in the Q&A box. Again, you can find that if you click those 9 dots at the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. So a few came in. Hope you're ready. I don't know if you want to take a swig of water, Tommy.
I'm all set.
Actually, a compliment came in, so I'm going to start with that one. Not a question, just wanted to say, wow, very cool sustainability initiatives. Super cool to see the progress in recycling, composting, plant-based wax, etc. So I agree. Okay,
that.
but let's get into some of the nitty-gritty. Actually, I saw one I wanted to start with about audits, and pardon me if you mentioned this, but someone's wondering which budget you use to pay for audits.
Yes, so I, as a sustainability department of one, I do not have a sustainability budget. So the way that I navigate through that system is by building rapport with our management team, our facilities director, maintenance director, operations director, and I approach them with project opportunities that come through these incentives. And I say, look, the incentives are really great. I know that we probably need this in order to not only save money, but help cut down on our emissions. And so I really go to that middle management, I propose it, and I get their support, in which I use to deliver that full program up to leadership for them to consider for capital projects in the future. So nothing comes really out or into the sustainability budget. All of those rebates and incentives go right back into reinvesting in infrastructure. So by just kind of having a great rapport with those middle management, I'm able to gain their trust and their support and utilize that to parlay that into actual projects before our budgets go out.
make friends before you need them situation. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Awesome. Thank you. Another audit question just came in, so I'm going to tack that on. What types of audits are you performing? So I guess, is it a level 1, 2, 3? You can shed light on that.
Majority level 1 to this point. And feasibility studies are huge for projects that are potentially available out there. But mostly level 1 to this point. Like I said, I've been in my position for about 3-4 years now. It'll be 4 years here in spring full time. So we're starting from the base. We're really starting from just finding the facts about our property. And as we execute on those audits and projects, it exposes those opportunities to dive further into those level 2, level 3 audits that will really get us the data we need to create a long-term plan. So as of now, it's opportunity-based, and we're moving closer to long-term planning projects and things of that nature through more in-depth auditing.
I do want to be mindful in case there's any newbies on the call. Did you want to just briefly explain, maybe we should have done this at the beginning, the difference between level 1 and level 2?
Yeah, so I think it's just more detailed. They go into, as you move up the levels, for level 1 you might just send them your bills, and that's how you'll audit that. In level 2, they're going to come to property and they're going to test them with their own meters and their own infrastructure that will help determine the actual effects there, and so on and so forth. You just keep getting more detailed. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks. Sorry to put you on the spot there.
All good.
Okay. Wow. Trying to figure out which question I should ask next. I kind of want to keep with the sort of like building blocks kind of theme here. I think you addressed this, but do you use a consultant, or do you do everything in-house?
I do pretty much everything in-house, but that being said, I lean on my mentors. The fun thing about the sustainability world is that it is the least competitive space I've ever been in. I used to be in marketing, and everyone's trying to get one up on the other and be the first movers in messaging. Here in sustainability, it seems like everyone's kind of holding each other's hands. We all want to see each other succeed. So that's been really great for me, with whether it's in the ski industry or the state. Everyone wants to reach the same goals of net zero. So everyone in this space is really willing and capable to explain their projects and their goals and their challenges. So because there are sure a lot of challenges and roadblocks along the way. So just having that support system, whether it's through MEA or National Ski Area Association in our case, having those folks who have been doing this for 10, 20 years, I lean on a lot of their expertise, and I'm not afraid to say I don't know a lot of the time.
Rising tide lifts all boats. There was a question related to that. A lot of these questions are like building off of each other, which is cool. Do you have a forum for chatting with peers at other resorts? So it sounds like there's this national ski area partnership. Is that what you primarily use? And I don't know if you want to shed a bit more light on how you communicate with them. Do you have a call every month? Do you, I don't know, G-chat each other? Like, how do you actually communicate?
Yeah, so in the winter, we do lead ups to our spring submissions of our climate challenge reporting. So that's kind of the winter activity. Everyone is very aware that we have no time to do anything in the winter. We are slam packed busy and trying to make snow and trying to operate our hotels efficiently. So and, keep guests flowing through and happy in that case. So winter is a little bit darker, but we do have monthly meetings just about those upcoming reportings, what changes are in those reporting. Recently, we've started breaking out our energy usage into building specific and, operation specific. So that's been helpful in the BEPS sense for me to, get the training from the Ski Areas Association and apply that to Maryland goals and mandates. So in the summer, or in the spring through fall, we have a ton of meetings, and I'm on countless subcommittees through there. There's also here in Maryland, there's resources like the Maryland Green Registry that allows, it's similar. It allows us to post what we're doing and collaborate with other good ideas that you see. So copy and paste. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Just learn from others and their success and apply that to your property. So there are definitely resources here in Maryland that we've joined into, and we still lean heavily on the ski area associations as well. So got monthly subcommittee meetings and environmental committee meetings through them, but that's also very available here in Maryland through various coalitions and government agencies.
Awesome. Okay, moving along. I knew this question was going to come up. What are the biggest technical challenges with electrification in a cold climate?
Oh man. Yeah, so I think it's a cultural challenge as well as it is an infrastructure and what's available to us. There's grid constraints, there's all sorts of things that could throw a wrench in electrification projects. So working with your utilities to communicate those projects and to gain support from them is very important to the success and understanding of the community with what the goals are. So, we're still using propane right now. That's a goal for the future, long-term planning goal to move away from that, but we're still using that. So in our snowcats, this isn't building related, but heck ton of diesel goes into those things. So that's a technology constraint. The electric batteries and those that equipment would not benefit our operations to this point. So finding ways to reduce that through various technologies is really important. So working with the actual manufacturers of the technology, sending them questionnaires that have pointed questions of, what are y'all doing to benefit our goals here on property, and what can we plan for in the future? So really hitting it from the public and private sectors, gaining support from all of your stakeholders is definitely important in that.
Awesome. Thank you. You good for a few more? We've got
10
minutes left. Awesome. And yeah, folks, for folks, I know some folks have joined within the last 5-10 minutes. If you want to fire away some questions, you can throw them in the Q&A box, which you can find if you click those 9 dots at the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. Okay. Are there specific building types that are harder to decarbonize?
I would just say my buildings. Here on Wisp Resort, it's hard to decarbonize when you're established into systems. And I'd say older buildings have more challenges with heat loss and retention and things of that nature. So your newer buildings that are, compliant with the new codes that are out there are going to be a little easier to conceptualize. You'll be able to find your blueprints. You'll be able to know exactly where infrastructure is when it was replaced, all of that. Whereas older buildings, especially if they've had multiple owners throughout their history, definitely a challenge in finding that information. So I would say if you're struggling with an older building, you're definitely not alone. And bringing in those third-party auditors to come help you and justifying those costs through the savings that they provide is a tool that you can bring to leadership to help them get on the same page. It's not just this $2,000 audit, it's a $2,000 audit to save us $40,000. So, justifying it through savings and finding those opportunities if you're in an old building is definitely helpful.
Awesome. Someone wants to know who your electric utility is. That's the first part of the question. I'll just let you answer that.
Yeah, we're on Potomac Edison.
Awesome. And then the second part of their question is, are your HVAC systems centralized or room by room?
Room by room. Old building. That's how it was done back then. I wish we had a central air system that would make, replacements and our maintenance department very happy, but our building's just not set up that way. So we've got to get creative and find those solutions. So, and it's a mix of VTAC, PTAC, and all of the above, as things break and go through, we've reinvested in the newer technologies that work within our systems. So it's just a constant replacement.
Awesome. Someone is curious to know if you've considered community solar as an option.
Yes, and we have signed on to community solar here the actual solar farm is over in Oakland. We have not started receiving the benefits of that quite yet. I think they're running into some red tape for, actually getting it through the transmission lines and whatnot, but we are signed on for about a third of our meters, the ones that qualified. But the benefits of that program going to low income households for the majority of that energy is also a very important community support for us. So when we got that opportunity to sign on, it was a no-brainer. Discount electricity plus, you're benefiting the lower income in your community, and we're in a very rural area. So that was extremely important to us.
Awesome.
And we're not reducing our emissions through that. We don't get the RECs or anything, but
Great.
it is a good program.
Awesome. Someone is curious to know how you get feedback from customers like resort skiers, etc., as to what they want for sustainability.
Yeah, so monitoring those social media comments is one. I don't also hide my contact information. If I set up a tent for our summer concert series, and I'm there sorting waste in front of guests. So I don't hide or anything like that. You're free to, email the resort, and I get emails forwarded to me all the time about waste on the slopes, for example, or, hey, we'd love to recycle more in this building in particular, and finding solutions for that using customer-driven ideas is a very rewarding part of my job. I get to, actually interact with those folks and tell them, hey, a lot of the times folks are like, we want to see LED lights in your buildings and in your slopes. And I get to tell them we're way ahead of you and we're going to be done by 2026. And hopefully you enjoy that experience. So sometimes it's nice to tell them we're already doing it, and also it's nice to get those fresh ideas and that outside perspective. I don't have all the answers. I never will. So it's great to get that outside view and respond to it in a way that they know that we're working on it.
Awesome. I'm going to throw out my question, which is a little bit more of a fun one. Is there an energy project that you're most excited to pursue?
Yes, we are constantly applying to very large grants, very aspirational grants. I think there's some of our grant partners in on this call. So those are kind of pipe dream situations. Can we get a microgrid here? Can we, get some battery backups? Can we get hydroelectric in our snowmaking systems? There's some really creative ways to offset our energy usage that are available through these massive grant programs. Are they a lot of work? Yeah. But when you find those right partners that are communicative and stay on top of you, because I get stretched thin, right? I'm working on property, physically sorting material as well as, I'm helping to communicate the installation of lights with our middle management. So I get stretched pretty thin at times. So having the strong recommendations from these public programs like Empower Maryland to find those partners that want to do these projects and they're available for communication has been really helpful to me because they can kind of give me the answers where I give them the information. So I don't have most of the answers, so they're able to kind of hold my hand through that process.
Gonna ask two follow-up questions. I'm assuming that the two main sources of grants you're talking about are Maryland Energy Administration and Empower. Are there any other sources that you have applied to?
Yeah. National Ski Area Association, of course. But we're typically in the past couple of years is when I've kind of gotten more integrated into the incentives and grant space. I was doing rebates from the beginning of my position, but the past couple of years I've kind of tiptoed into that grant space. So yeah, we've only done through MEA to this point. We've not done any federal grants or, even local ones to this point. So we're pretty state specific at the moment, but as I continue to build this department and maybe get an intern one day and maybe have some help with boots on the ground, we can get more into those other opportunities. Whether it's through, I know sometimes places like Coca-Cola and Pepsi offer grants for recycling and things like that. So getting into our individual partners that we already work with and finding those opportunities is something I'd like to get into down the line.
Awesome. And just 3 minutes left. I'll just ask one more follow-up question and then we'll wrap up. I see some folks already clicking off. Just curious with partners, like you could maybe talk through that process. Is it service providers maybe approaching you and saying, hey, there's this grant that's open. Do you want to collaborate on a proposal, or kind of who contacts who and how does that coalition come together? Does that make sense?
Yeah. It's a mix of both. I've been here on a random Tuesday and I've had, lighting folks or somebody knock on the door and be like, hey, I was vacationing in the area where our company is in Baltimore. We offer this service and we'd love to work with you. And those are my favorite because I don't even have to do any research except for after the fact, of course, to verify the companies and whatnot. In order to present to leadership. But also I've approached partners who we already work with and say, hey, I saw this opportunity for a grant for EV charging equipment. How can you guys help us move forward with this application? And sometimes the answer is yes, sometimes the answer is no, but it can never hurt to ask your existing partners what opportunities out there might be. So that's been a big help for me. It comes in a variety of ways though. Some are, I just, get lucky, and others I research and find local support for, and then approach other folks who are vetted either through MEA or maybe, Garrett College across the street has worked with them. or somebody in Cumberland or Rocky Gap, which is, about an hour away from Wisp Resort. They do a lot of big projects as well. So learning from others, finding their partners, as well as just kind of opportunity based.
That's one of the hub principles. Learn from others. Don't reinvent the wheel. So on that note, I think we're going to call this to a close. Thank you so much. I obviously am biased. I thought that was fantastic. I've already seen some comments come through saying thank you, that they loved it. So thank you, and see you on the slopes, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Love to see y'all out here. So thanks for having me, and good luck, everybody. I know we're in this together.
Thanks for joining, everyone.